Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. Today would be our first session with respect to BW ABAP. So as you are aware, we as a BW consultant are dependent on the actual ABAP consultant to do any kind of customization, be it in routine, be it in generic extractor, be it in BEX customization, or else even in a enhancement of standard extractor, correct? But ultimately, as you know, that time has changed and the expectation from the consultants has been changed. This is because our billing is more to the client, because as the experience increases we will be charging more and more, or our parent company, if at all I am working with Accenture or Infosys or Wipro, that company will be charging more amount to these clients, correct? And post that, what will happen, those client will further mm, expect the candidates to be well versed and they should be able to deliver the use cases independently. That's the reason you will get better package than what you are getting 5 years back or 10 years back. At the same time, the expectation is also more. So having this ABAP knowledge will always make you the independent consultant, which you are already aware of, what's the need of BW related ABAP, right? So as part of this training, we will split entire course into three different sections. Okay, initial few days we'll understand the fundamentals. Though you are aware, we will revisit from the very scratch, assuming you don't know anything related to ABAP. Then we will go step by step in understanding how to declare a variable, what is internal table, work area, fetching data from multiple tables and all. Then once you are comfortable with handling the data, this loop, read, select statement and stuff like that, then we will start with actual BW related ABAP topic, which is generic extractor based on function module, followed by enhancement of standard extractor in source system, which is ECC or SRM or CRM. Then we will move on to BW, we'll start with routine, then we'll move on to the BEX part. And parallelly from day one, we'll start seeing the debugging and best practice also. Okay, this is the high level overview, which I have already explained you guys in detail. So let us start today's session. So before learning any programming language, right, we have to understand the features of that particular programming language, right? And the editor. So this is my blog, onehour.blogspot.com, and if you see, this is a very old blog post or the article which I wrote somewhere in 2013. So, but it still holds good even today also. Okay. So before learning any language, we have to understand some overview about the language, right? It is just a 5 minutes topic. So when SAP implemented the SAP ABAP programming language, right, that particular syntax, they took a reference from COBOL. Okay, that time the COBOL was a very famous programming language, and it is very close to English kind of language. Okay, you can correlate the syntax of ABAP is similar to COBOL, and COBOL is similar to the plain English. Okay, and ABAP statement and keywords are case insensitive, meaning we can write ABAP code in uppercase or lowercase, it doesn't matter. By using one of the settings called petty printer, you can convert everything into uppercase or everything into lowercase. Okay guys, so that we will see how to change the setting. And like your BW object, your DSO, cube, info object, custom object has to start with Y or Z, right? Even in
Yes.
BW also, sorry, the ABAP also, custom ABAP object has to be starting with Y or Z. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah,
Then the next topic is every ABAP statement or keyword or expression has to end with full stop or period. What does it mean? If you're writing a ABAP code, uh, any single sentence, select single star or declaration of a variable using a data keyword between data and that variable name, or between select single star, uh, the token, we are explaining the token or this thing, right? So yeah, every ABAP expression has to end with full stop or period, meaning when you write a expression, right, full stop will indicate to the compiler that this is the end of the current expression. Okay, meaning anything after full stop will be treated as a next command or next line of expression. Clear guys? Whereas in C programming or Java, if you remember, it is a semicolon. Semicolon will tell that this is the end of current expression. Anything after semicolon will be treated as a next line. Got it? All good guys? Maybe you
yes,
guys can
yes,
be on
yes.
mute.
My
Eh?
side is good. Some disturbance is getting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You guys can be on mute whenever you have a
Yeah,
doubt.
okay.
Feel
Yeah,
free to.
I'm in mute.
Yeah, yeah. unmute yourself, feel free to do that, okay? So that even in recording also we can avoid that background noise. Should be fine. Thanks for that. And token within a statement must be separated by at least one space. What does it mean? When you write a select single star, between select and single there has to be at least one space, okay? Clear, guys? Meaning you can have more than one space also, no issues, but at least one space is expected.
Okay.
Okay, or it can be in new line also. You might have seen select statement, they will be writing select field 1, below that field 2, field 3, field 4, field 5. Clear?
Yes.
So those are the features of ABAP programming language, guys. And coming to the features of ABAP editor, the features of ABAP editor is similar to Notepad, or editor is similar to Notepad. All the shortcuts, Control X, Control C, Control V, Control X, and Control S, you can use that to manage your the code, copying, cut, copy, paste, and saving the object, okay? And you can also use shortcut called Control plus F1 to toggle between display mode or change mode, or else you can use that pencil kind symbol from the application toolbar, okay, guys? And you can also use Control plus F2 for the syntax check, Control plus F3 for activating the program. All the normal commands or the normal buttons which you see in your RS7 toolbar, right? Same thing is applicable here also. Or if you want to go with the shortcut, these are the shortcuts, okay? And there is something called comments in every programming language, right? What are comments? Pavan, any idea?
The comments commenting out is used to, like, it won't read the statement, like it won't compile the statement if you do the commenting.
Right. Meaning, whatever you write in a comment, right, that will be treated as the non-code statements. Like those are not a codes. It will be skipped by the compiler during the compilation process. Okay. So you will be writing some additional information such as what exactly that particular code is doing, why you are implementing a logic, all those things. Clear, guys?
Yes.
So that is your comments or features of ABAP program and ABAP editor. So any doubts so far, guys, in the features of ABAP program and ABAP editor? All good, guys?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Great. So now let us go back to the system or our slides. So let us try to understand the very simple ABAP program, because unknowingly we are learning the fundamentals, right? At the same time we are learning something called classical ABAP reporting, okay, which will be used by core ABAPer. So because we cannot directly start writing a code in generic extractor or in a routine, right? We have to go step by step. That's the reason we are going with a simple ABAP program, which are executable program, okay? So now you can log into your remote desktop using whatever the command you, or else if you are having an access to your local machine, you can go with that. So whatever we are going to discuss will holds good even in BW, BW on HANA, ECC or SRM, CRM. Okay, in all the system, all the syntax, whatever we are going to discuss will holds good. Okay, there's no difference at all. So till you get a server, or if at all you are not taking a server, if you already have access to your BW system with ABAP developer access, you can start practicing also. Okay, so now I am logging to ECC system, and after you log into ECC system with your credentials, can okay. There's a T code called SC38. Okay, SC38 is a T code which is used for ABAP editor by the core ABAPer mostly. Even we as a BW consultant also will use to run some standard ABAP program, correct? A standard program given by SAP to activate a process chain, or to trigger an event, or to activate the inactive transformations, or DTP. Correct, guys? So as a core ABAPer, SC38 is a T code used by the core ABAPer to create custom ABAP programs. Okay. Now, as I said, every ABAP program has to start with what characters, guys? Y or Z, right? So start with your Y or Z, the program name. Z Venu underscore, this is September 2022 P September 22 PGM1. Okay, my first tab up. Okay, enter your program name. When you click on program name, what will happen? You have to click on create button. If the program already existed, what it will say, the program already existed, choose the different name. But this program is not yet existed. If you want to create, you click on create button. There's a pop-up window which appears over here. Okay guys, in this screen, program name and the program type are mandatory fields. Okay guys, you can enter any title. My my first ABAP program type you can give executable program. Okay, there are different types of program which is used by core ABAPer. Okay, the program types, but for our learning purpose we are using executable. Why? Because these are not dependent on any other objects. Okay, you can write any code and execute it because it is not dependent on any other objects, whereas all other objects are dependent on one or the other kind of different objects. Okay, as part of our training we'll be seeing executable program, include program, to some extent function group. Rest of the things are not scope of the BW ABAP. Okay, it is related to core ABAP. So now, as I said, program title and program type are mandatory, rest are optional. If you want to set any value, you can set it, otherwise you can leave it as it is. Clear guys? So since it is your very first program, we'll see each and every option in detail, but this is for knowledge purpose. Okay, having more knowledge is always best. So, but setting any of the parameter for rest of the columns will not change the functionality. It is just that you are giving more metadata information. Clear guys? So coming to status. Under status you can see SAP standard production program, customer production program, system program or test program. You can choose whichever is relevant for you. Okay. Under application you can drop down and choose any of the functional areas of SAP. Okay guys. So you can go with any functional area, for example, business information warehouse. Authorization group, you know, right? SAP basis people will create a authorization group or the security people. If at all there is an authorization group created by somebody like security team, and if you want to assign, you can do F4 and select that. Logical database will be used by HR ABAP consultants, which is out of score for us. Selection screen, there will be a number generated if at all the core ABAP is creating an ALV report. Okay. Then there is an option called editor lock. Using that editor lock checkbox, what will happen is, if at all, by default, what is happened, guys? The editor lock checkbox is not enabled. Okay. Why? If at all you check this checkbox, nobody else apart from your ID can edit this program. Got it, guys? Because you might have working in some project and you might have been offboarded or you went on leave. If somebody wanted to come and change that program, if at all you by mistake enable this checkbox, they cannot able to edit the program. They have to again come to this metadata management screen and remove this checkbox. Clear guys, what is the importance of that?
Yeah.
Clear. Pawan, you are good.
Yes, yes, yes.
So then there's a next option called Unicode check active. We'll come to this point later. Fixed point arithmetic, by default it is checked because you wanted to do that adding necessary libraries in the backend, and then start using a variant like your BEX report. If the ABAP report is having default variant, you can, it will get executed by default variant. But there is something called Unicode, maybe you might have aware. So you and me are we were there in the industry from a very long time, right? And you might have started using a small non-smartphone or non-Android phone and then started using Android phone. Initially when people were sending a message in Kannada language or Telugu, Tamil, Marathi or even Chinese or Japanese, our mobile was not able to interpret few of the character. It is to show as box. Or else if you go and visit any of the website from your mobile or computer, some character you are not able to read it properly, or it was not able to translate to proper character, correct? Because earlier we were following some standard called ANSI standards, okay, or ASCII standards. It was supporting up to 128 characters. Capital A to Z, small a to Z, 0 to 9, and few of the special character like plus, minus, at the rate, underscore, all these things. Clear, guys? Whereas now there is a new set of standards comes called Unicode. Using this standard, you can represent any language's character digitally. And if you are receiving that Unicode while displaying, it will that Unicode will be translated to equivalent character, which can be read by the humans. Got it, guys? Unicode can be understood by the compiler or your processor in your mobile or desktop, but while rendering, it will translate into the equivalent character. Clear, guys?
Okay.
Earlier, the older version of SAP, you might have heard what is the previous version of SAP ECC 6.0. Any idea, Ram?
Yeah, in ECC 6.0 I worked it earlier.
Prior to that, previous version of ECC 6.0. Any idea?
No, 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 no.
Any idea, Pavan?
It was 3.x, right?
3.x for BW. What
BW.
about
Okay.
ECC, older version of the ECC system called as?
ECC for R by 3 or something.
Yes, it was not ECC.
Okay.
ECC
It's
was kind later. We used to
Okay.
call that as SAP R3
Okay.
4.6C. Okay.
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 R3 is three-layer architecture, 4.6C is the version, and there was a major technical upgrade from 4.6C to ECC 6.0. So that time ECC 6.0 started supporting this Unicode. That's the reason even if you have 10,000 ABAP program in your old system, you used to go manually to all those 10,000 program and enable this checkbox. Got it? After migration or during the migration, so that you are making that Unicode compatible. That's the reason there's an explicit checkbox given by SAP, because many people were using SAP 4.6C, right, old version of ECC. They have to go and explicitly enable. That's the reason when I create, by default it was checked, correct? If you remove it, it will throw an error. You should not remove it. Okay. All the objects which we are creating right now in BW 7.x version or ECC 6.0 onwards are Unicode compatible. Okay. Any doubts in this, guys?
Okay, I'm good.
So all good from your end, Pavan.
Yes, yes, yes.
So now click on save. When you click on save, obviously it will ask you to capture under a specific package like your any BW objects. I'm saving under local object. Okay. So now we successfully created a simple ABAP program. Now if you go back and see, so if you see, there's a line or statement inserted by SAP in this program called report, because we choose an executable program, right? Meaning it is nothing but report program. So now, and you see, if you observe the very first line, what it says, full stop, meaning the line end with full stop. Clear, guys? Every expression has to end with full stop. Got it? Anything after full stop will be treated as new line. So now, as of now, you see what is that? Inactive. The program is inactive. Before learning anything, to check the syntax, you can use this Control plus F2 or this check bar, this button. Now, what is the status? Inactive revised. If you activate it, now the program will get activated, and you can see the status also become active. Clear, guys? Now, what is the next step? You can execute it, the program, but as of now, we are not doing anything, so there won't be any difference. Correct? Nothing happens. So now, while learning any programming language, generally what you will learn, very first program, hello world program, printing some message to the end user, correct? So in C programming, you will use a command called printf statement. In Java, you will be using a command called system.out.ln. Right, guys?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So whereas in ABAP, we will be using a command called write command. Okay, write command is used to print a message or value to the output. So now what we will be doing, we will print a message to the user. What message we will be printing, guys? You can print anything. Okay, there's no difference at all. Stop transaction. So write what I wanted to print. Hi, welcome to SAP BW ABAP. Okay. So you see, every statement has to end with full stop. Check the syntax. Syntax is perfectly fine. If you remove the full stop and check the syntax, what it says, the last statement is incomplete, period is missing. Okay. Put the period, which is nothing but full stop. Activate the program. Now this gets activated. Now if you run the program, F8 button, what it says, hi, welcome to SAP BW ABAP. Clear, guys? Any doubts in this, guys? So write command is used to print the value. So why we are learning this as a BW consultant? Are we going to do some program like this? No. But this is the best way to learn an ABAP. Why? Because assume that you are supposed to implement some conversion logic or some logic in your routine or generic extractor. So you don't have to wait till the generic extractor to be built or a transformation to be built to write your logic in a routine. You can come to SC38, create a simple program like this and implementing a logic and use a write command to print the final output of the overall logic what you are going to implement. Got it, guys?
Okay. Is it mandatory for single quote? It is.
Yes, since it's a character, like you are giving a string, right? You have to give a single quote. It's a good question.
Okay.
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 So now we saw how to declare how to print a values, correct? Now there is something called data types. So can you tell me what exactly is the data type, Ram? Any idea?
Uh, Data types like as you're showing like integer, character, and date.
Okay. So
Yeah,
is it really
string.
necessary for a database?
Uh, yes, obviously, because we are defining some variables, right? So, what type of um, data is
It is
there
going to
based on
hold or
that
it is
data?
going to
Yes,
store, correct? You're
yeah,
right.
we have to
So
represent that.
yeah. So if you take any database or RDBMS, so there is a concept called the data types, which is going to tell what kind of data that particular column or variable can store. If you take a Aadhaar database, Aadhaar number is a 12 character length. It can take only numbers. Name, it can be up to 35 or 60. Mobile number, it can be 10 character, correct? Pin code,
Yes.
maximum 6 character in India, something like that, right? Like that, you are, while designing a database or a table or your DSO or cube, even in BW, you are going to specify what type of data an info object can accept, correct? That is the data type. Clear? So even in ABAP also that concept still holds good. Clear?
Okay.
So now there is a concept called variables. So what exactly is a variable? To create a variable, we'll use a command or keyword called data followed by LV underscore message type data type. You can give any of these data types, string, integer, character, date. So if you give string, what will happen? My variable is going to hold the data of type string. Clear? Any doubts over here, Pavan?
Sir?
All good?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
So now earlier what we were doing? We were printing a hard-coded value. Now what I did, I declared a variable which is of type string, means this variable is called as LV underscore message. It is going to store a data of type string. Clear? Of this data. So now what I did, LV message was blank. I am going to initialize this with this value. Clear, guys? And then what I am going to do, I am going to print the value. Write command can also be used to print a value stored in a variable. Got it, guys? The output
Okay.
of the previous version of the program and this version, there is no difference. But earlier we were directly printing this hard-coded value. Now I declared a variable, I initialize the variable, and I am printing the variable. Got it?
Okay.
So generally what we do, in order to test your logic, you'll implement a logic, you'll write a logic and process the data or convert something to something else. Then you can use a write command to see whether your logic is working as expected. Then you can just copy paste your code from here to your routine or generic extractor or enhancement wherever you want. Okay, clear? So now any doubts in this program? All good, guys? Very simple program.
Yeah, one thing like a string, how many characters it can hold?
It can
Like,
go up to 255 character or 256. It depends on the
okay,
operating system they are installing. Okay.
okay,
So great. That's a good question. Now the next example is instead of string I am using C. Check the syntax. Syntax is fine. Activate it. What the next step? Execute it. What you are able to see? I am able to see
it
only H
has
being
only
printed in the output. Why?
only one.
So there is no syntax error. There is no dump or anything like that. Correct?
Okay,
So when you are declaring a variable which is of type C, what generally happens over here is mm, the variable by default we are declaring this variable of type character, meaning it is going to hold a data of type character, but by default whose length is 1. Okay. Or if you are
okay,
removing this, generally we have to specify type C or type string, type integer, but I am removing, not specifying anything.
okay,
So still there is no error. It got activated. I see the output. What it is printing only H, meaning whenever you are not specifying anything, by default it will be of type what? Character and length 1. Clear?
okay,
So in a hurry as a human being, you might miss to type something, correct? In that case, by default, it will be of type character length 10. Clear, guys? So
okay,
now it was taking only, if I specify type C, by default, length will be 1. So you can specify length 30, 40 or whatever the length you want by specifying a keyword. Length space in a number format, you can specify any number. Got it? To declare a variable which is of type C, you can also specify the length. That is one way. Otherwise, after variable name within small bracket, you can specify the length of your variable. Clear?
oh,
Hi, welcome
there are
to
two
SAP
ways
BW ABAP.
to
There are
declare.
two ways for this case. Clear? Any doubts in this? All good,
Okay,
guys?
good.
Pavan, you're good?
Yes, yes.
Great. So now what is the next step? We'll move on and learn something, some additional programs. So arithmetic operation. So if you take any programming language, for sure arithmetic operation would be there, correct?
Any date example like a
We'll see that.
day? Okay, thank
Okay. So over here we have arithmetic operation, correct? Which we generally do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, or you might also have a use case wherein you wanted to calculate total amount, which is a multiplication of a unit price into the quantity, right, guys? So in that case, what you will do, you are going to do something like that is you are going to multiply, right? Or addition, subtraction, based on the need, you are supposed to do all those things, right? So now what we will be doing is we will try to understand how can we achieve this arithmetic operation in ABAP. So let us go back and create a new program called program ending with 2. So now I want two variables which will act like an input, correct? LV underscore num1 type I, LV underscore num2 type I, right? Which is going to hold my input value. Now I need variable to hold the output sum type I wanted to calculate product type I wanted to calculate some product division type LV underscore remainder type right? See, there are two ways I declared a variable. So what you can do, you can declare something like this also, okay? So to declare a variable, I will use data keyword, okay? Data variable name type, the data type. Data variable name type I. In order to save the time, you can also specify, if you want to declare more than one variable, after data keyword, you specify colon. This will give an option or functionality or flexibility that you can declare a variable separated by comma, okay? Here you are not specifying the colon, so you can declare only one variable in a single line. So if you want to declare more than one variable, you can just specify colon and put the declaration statement separated by comma. Clear, guys? Either you can do this, both are one and the same. There is no difference to the compiler.
Okay.
Okay. So now we declare a variable, we have to initialize it. LV num1 type is equal to what? Maybe 104. LV num2 is equal to 50. Now I wanted to calculate sum. LV sum is equal to LV num1 plus LV num2. Okay. LV prod is equal to LV num1 star LV num2. Okay, guys. So simple operation, variable which is going to hold the result of summation is equal to content of variable 1 plus content of variable 2. Clear, guys? You see over here, even in the right command we are using a colon. Wherever you use colon, that will be exactly same. What does it means? Now I am going to use print sum, okay, then followed by LV sum. Got it, guys? So write command will be applicable to this, write command will be applicable to this also. So what write will do, it will print sum followed by content of this sum variable. Clear, guys? 154. Any doubts over here, guys? All good, guys?
Yes, yes, yeah.
So now similarly I wanted to print the value of product. Product is equal to LVPROD. Similarly I wanted to calculate division and remainder. Division remainder. To divide one number with a other or one variable with content of other variable, you have to use forward slash. To find out a remainder, you have to use an operator called mod. Okay. So similarly I'm going to print some product result of division operation. It is LV underscore div result of what is that remainder. The remainder result of division, what was the remainder left? See, sum is 154, product is 5200. I can divide 104 by 52 times, and what would be the remainder? 52 is 100 and remainder would be 4. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Great, guys. So this is all about your arithmetic operation. Wherever you want to find out or do multiplication of two different number, you just have to go with star operator, plus minus for addition, subtraction, forward slash for division, and mod for finding out the remainder. Wherever you have a need, you can make use of this operator. Okay. So any doubts from your end, Pavan? All good?
Yes, yes, all good.
Yes, good.
Great. So now there are some additional operator called equality operator or a logical operator and stuff like that. Okay, so we'll be making use of that uh, whenever we start learning the additional concepts such as conditional operator, which is conditional statement, if statement, else statement, case statement, or in your select statement, the your what is that where class of your select statement, we'll be using that. We can use to check the equality, either we will use eq symbol or equal to symbol or not equal to ner less than followed by greater than. For greater than gt or greater than symbol, greater than or equal to, we'll use ge or greater than followed by equal to symbol. For less than lt or less than symbol, less than or equal to, we'll use le or less than followed by equal to. Clear? So we'll see all these things in upcoming days whenever the time comes, but to give an heads up, we have something called conditional operator which will be used to do the conditional check operations. Okay. So similar to conditional operator, you have something called logical operators. Okay. So the logical operators are used Similar to your logic gates, you might have studied in your bachelor's, BE or BSc or BCA, you might have know, or even in PUC, not gate, and gate, or gate, right? So here also it works in the similar principle, meaning if at all uh, execute the logic if both the condition is true. When we will use and condition, assume that you have two condition. If at all you are going to attend, like if at all my overall package is 10 lakhs per annum plus, if you are going to give joining bonus, then only I will be accepting an offer. What does it mean? If you are going to offer me both these conditions, then only I will be accepting the offer, something like that. Clear? Meaning both the condition has to satisfy, then only you are going to execute some logic. In that case, you are going to use and operator. Otherwise, when we will use or operator, generally in English, while speaking between you and me or to the group, when we use or, you give me the overall city as 12 lakhs, or give me 10 plus 2 as a joining bonus. You are giving a two options there. If one of those are true, you are going to join the company, correct? You wanted to execute some logic. If at all one of the two condition, either condition 1 or condition 2 are true, then you will use or operator. Clear, guys?
Yes.
So any other doubts, guys? Okay, so I treat that as no. So moving on to the next topic, converting string to an uppercase or lowercase. This is the most commonly used example in our BW scenario, correct? You might have an info object wherein the lower checkbox case checkbox is not enabled,
Yes.
but you have started receiving a lowercase data after few days of go live. Now either we have to skip that record from being loaded to the target, or what you can also do, you can use some routines to either you can go and edit in a PSA and manually convert into uppercase, or else you can enable that info object to accept lowercase, but that info object is used in many places, so the only option which is left is either you can convert the data into uppercase in the source or the data source level or in your enhancement level, or in the BW side you can write a simple routine to convert the value, the incoming value from lowercase to uppercase. Clear, guys?
Yes.
So only in those kind of scenario you'll be using this. Clear, guys? So now
Yes, yes.
in order to convert the data to lowercase or uppercase, we use a command called translate statement, or we use a statement called translate statement. Let us see how can we use the translate statement. Okay, let us go ahead and create a new program called program number 3. Just so let us create a variable data lv underscore message type string, right? Lv underscore message is equal to, assume that I can go with GOPL M N, maybe by RAM. Okay, so now I am going to print the value just for our reference, raw data, followed by, so what it will print, it will print raw data followed by variable name, correct, guys? Raw data followed by variable name. Clear? So now I wanted to convert this into uppercase. Assume that you are receiving this data, incoming data. I wanted to convert this into uppercase. What should I do? There's a command called translate. What you want to translate? I wanted to translate the value stored in this variable to uppercase. Clear, guys? So I use a translate statement to convert into uppercase, but let us print the content of that variable to see whether it is converted or not. After, see, earlier it was mixed case, later after using the translate command, everything, the content of that variable has been converted into uppercase. Clear, guys? Any doubts here, guys? All good? So there could be a scenario wherein you wanted to convert everything into lowercase. You can use that same translate command, but instead of 2 upper, you have a additional syntax called 2 lowercase. Clear, guys? Any doubts over here? All good, guys?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Pawan, you're good with this?
Yes, I am.
Great. So generally this is the most commonly BW syntax. Only thing you need to know is how to write this command. Okay, all these things for our learning purpose we are using. Main thing is the or the takeaway is the translate command. Clear, guys? So now there are cases where you might have some in between multiple spaces, right? The data won't looks good in your BEX report. Assume that you are taking some customer name or vendor name or some material description. By mistake, there has been some spaces has been introduced. So even in report also it will show like that. But I wanted to remove between two words more than one space with and keep only one space. Got it? How can we do that? You got my point. So, or else you don't want to keep any space at all. How can we do that? This is again one of the common BW requirement, correct? So in order to do that, again it is same thing. Assume that this is your data. This is how your data looks like. See, Venugopal multiple space M space N multiple space Pavan Ram. Right now I wanted to remove that spaces. So there is a command called condense. Okay, condense. What you want to condense? Condense. I wanted to condense the content of this variable. Okay. So now you see input data was like this, then this data was condensed and then it has converted into uppercase, it has been converted into lowercase. Got it, guys? The condense statement is used to remove more than one space. Any doubts in this, guys? I'm adding one more write command. Initially the raw data was like this, then after condense the spaces has been removed, then converted into uppercase, then converted into lowercase. Clear, guys? All good? So now assume that as part of your business requirement you don't want to see any space at all between Venugopal M, between M and N, between N and Pavan and all. So you have to remove everything. So in that case, for sure you now know condense statement is used to remove more than one space. Now in the condense statement only, there is an additional syntax called no gaps. If you use that, even there won't be even a single gap also kept. Clear? Any doubts in this? All good, guys? So condense statement is
Yes,
used to
yes.
remove the space, and if you want to remove more than one space, you can just go with at the end no gaps. So great. So maybe we'll see one more example and then we'll conclude the session. So assume that in your data source you are having first name, middle name and last name coming in three different fields of your data source, but in your target you have a column called full name, zero full name. So you wanted to concatenate content of three separate columns of your data source and populate to a single column of your target. Got it? In your target you have a single column, three separate columns of your source has to be populated to single column of your target. Clear? For that either you can go with a formula, BW formula in your transformation, otherwise you can go with a concatenate statement also. How can we do this? You got my point. Wherever you wanted to merge the data of two different columns or three different columns, you have to go with concatenate. So now declare a variable lv underscore f name type okay, and you can also declare one variable for your full name. Full name is equal to lv. So I wanted to calculate this value based on the value present in these three fields. So how can I do that? First thing is I have to initialize the value to these three variables, correct? Let me do that. Venugopal. See, after every single expression I am going to put full stop, otherwise that line will be treated as error. Clear, guys? Now I will be using a command called concatenate. What I want to concatenate? I'm just explaining you how to read the syntax also. I wanted to concatenate value stored in these three variables, right? Concatenate value stored in this variable and store the result into where? Into lv underscore full name. That's it. Can put a full stop. See, between two words there has to be a single space, or between this word and this word there can be more than one space also. I am having more than one line also. So now I am using what write command to print content of lv underscore full name. So now what it will print, guys? It will print Venugopal Ram Pavan. Clear, guys? So in your routine, either it is in start routine or feed level routine or end routine, wherever you wanted to achieve something like this, you have to use concatenate command or keyword. Clear? But if you see the output, there's no space or separator between two words or two values. So if you want to introduce a space, what you have to do? Separated by hyphen, means between first name, middle name, and between middle name and last name, there will be hyphen which will be introduced. Clear, guys? Any doubts in this, guys? But instead of hyphen, if you want space, you can just within single quotes put space. You can see there's a space introduced between two different values. Clear, guys? Ram, you are good, and Pavan.
Yes, the space, whatever we are using, it will be separating three letters, right? Three words completely, right?
Now you have three inputs, so three words. If you have one
Yeah.
more input, that will be separated also. Between this
Okay.
and this, what would be the separator? Between this and this, what would be the separator? That common separator can be specified here. Meaning space will be introduced between this and this.
Okay.
Okay. But if there is any different separator, for example, you have a requirement to separate first name and middle name by hyphen, middle name and last name by comma. In that case, what will happen? You cannot use this common operator separated by. Clear?
Yeah. Okay.
What you can do in that case, you can specify hard-coded value. Between first name and middle name, you want hyphen. Between middle name and last name, assume that you want space or you want maybe dot, full stop. Okay, within single quotes. Venugopal hyphen Ram dot Pavan. Got it? If
Okay.
there is a separator, common separator is needed, you can use separated by class. Otherwise, you will have to use this one. Any doubts in this, guys? Whatever we have seen so far. Great. If at all there is no other doubts, we'll see a couple of more example like this in next session, like how to do the split operation, and we'll also learn couple of more commonly used syntaxes like if operator, if else operator, and case statements. There is something called offset operation, which is very, very important. For example, you have a date column. You know, in SAP, the date will be stored in the format of YYYYMMDD, correct? So assume that you wanted to read first four character, or starting from fourth character, next two character. How can I read the data? All those things we will be learning in next session. Clear, guys?
Okay, sir.
So yeah, that's all for today. In the next session, we'll see couple of more examples and learn and keep learning the complex syntaxes. Okay.